And for those wondering, here is the disk right here that I pulled out of the drive that's now in the 98 PC. KolibriOS, what is this? I literally don't know. I mean, I assume I was planning on doing a video on this on the 98 PC at some point. Well, you know how the old saying goes, better late than never, right? Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's episode, we are finally going to be taking a look at KolibriOS, which is an extremely lightweight operating system that can fit on a single 3.5-inch floppy diskette. Which on its own is extremely impressive, but this OS also has a full graphical user interface, it's got support for various sound and network cards, and it comes with a whole bunch of software including a web browser. And all you need to run it is a Pentium compatible processor with at least 8 megabytes of RAM, which the computer we're going to be using today, of course the 98 PC, far exceeds both of those minimum system requirements. So we're going to pop this diskette in and just get started with it. So we'll go down here and restart the system and begin booting off of the floppy diskette. Now, one of the other cool things about KolibriOS is this operating system is still in development to this day. In fact, the build we're going to be exploring today is from August of 2024, though this is actually a fork of another really lightweight operating system called MenuetOS. It was forked from that project back in 2004, and it's been independently developed ever since. And speaking of development, today's sponsor Boot.dev can help you learn back-end web development from start to finish in a super fun way, because their learning platform is structured to feel like an interactive RPG. So while you're learning the ins and outs of both Python and Go, you'll also be earning XP, gaining achievements, advancing through levels, and completing quests to compete for a top spot on the global leaderboard. Because they don't want you to get bored and never write a line of code again, and that's why the entire platform is self-paced, so that you can take as much time as you need on a course to where you'll actually feel confident in what you've learned. They've also got viewable solutions for each challenge if you ever get stuck, and a vibrant Discord community where you can get help from others, chat about your weekly progress, and even participate in bi-monthly boss fights to gain bonus XP. Their entire curriculum roadmap is available online as well, where you can see exactly what you'll be learning, and you can even try out every course on the platform for free before subscribing to a membership, which you can do by clicking the link below. And if you use code MichaelMJD at checkout, you'll get 25% off your first purchase. So be sure to check them out, and huge thanks again to Boot.dev for making this video possible. So here's where it essentially starts decompressing everything on the diskette to a RAM disk so it can actually run. Now, we did have the option of changing our video mode and, some other settings right there on the screen. So, if you have trouble booting, you could, modify those settings. But I found on this system, the default options work totally fine. And here we are at the desktop. Now, to be totally honest, I did boot this up off camera just to verify that, it was going to work on this computer. But I didn't really go into any of the software. But just looking at this desktop here, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. And then in the menu here, you have, of course, even more. We got 2D demos, 3D demos, some graphics stuff, multimedia, development system, data processing, network, other, game center. I mean, there's so much stuff on here. And yes, we can go into network here, go to network devices, and it looks to identify both of the network adapters in here. Although this one here, the Athros one, it says it does not have a driver for it, it just says none. But it looks like it's got a driver for the 3Com one here, which is a PCI card. And I'm curious if we can just go on the internet or if we have to do some sort of configuration. But I believe, well, we got WebView and NetSurf. So one of these is probably the web browser. Let's try WebView here. This, I think, is the browser. It looks like we have an updater, a download manager, we can view our history, we can make multiple tabs too, which is great. And let's just try to go to the KolibriOS homepage. And okay, so it looks like we do have to open netcfg here to, I guess, configure, which is where we just were. So let's see, can we like click on this or anything? Okay, let's click on that. Oh, there we go, so we have to start device. Alright, so let's see if that works. So I haven't gotten like a notification or anything that says it successfully enabled the device, but let's see if we can just refresh the page here. Let's go back, maybe night builds. No, still not working. Okay, let's try this again. So start device. Okay, well here's something interesting. So I completely forgot that I don't actually have two Ethernet adapters in this computer. That's the XP computer I normally use for these videos. But I do have an Ethernet card and a wireless card. This Athros one, although it says Ethernet here, is a wireless card. So yeah, I'm just trying to use Ethernet. But yeah, I don't know if the device is actually started. I mean, I can click on start device here, but there's no like confirmation or anything. And in network status here, I mean, you see we got nothing. We can go back into the browser here, and we just get web page not available. Okay, so change of plans. I just swapped over to that XP computer that I mentioned, and we're going to see if we fare better under this system. So this one does actually have two Ethernet cards, but it looks like the Intel one, which is the internal one that of course I have it plugged into, does not have a network driver for that, but the 3COM one, which is the external one, does. So we can try to start that device. Of course, we don't get any sort of confirmation, but let me go ahead and plug the Ethernet cable into that. All right, and let's see. Let's go to Web View, KolibriOS homepage. Web page not available. Alright, well, unfortunately, I have not made any progress with the network adapter on either the 98 PC or the XP computer down here. I'm actually back on the 98 PC right now, and I tried this on two other computers as well, and could not get it working on there either, so I guess we're just going to be using this without internet, which kind of sucks, but we can still do a lot with just the bundled programs on here. Up here at the top left, we've got a file manager. We actually have a couple file managers. So this is the Kolibri file manager, and then we've got this one right here. We've got this one, which is like a DOS or sort of command line based file manager. Yeah, so you got plenty of options for browsing around your system here. And, of course, I can go up here and change the device if we want to browse the internal hard drive. You can view everything here. And this split view is really great for, if you want to, like, copy some files over to another device, if you want to maybe back up some stuff from your hard drive to a CD or, like, a USB drive that you have plugged into here. That's really useful. You've got a calculator up here, which is pretty self-explanatory. You've got TinyPad and cEdit. These are both, well, TinyPad is a text editor. cEdit also looks like a text editor, but I see there's this language option up here, so this is more for programming, although it can be used as just a basic text editor as well. And it's got multiple tabs, so that's nice. You could make a new document, make a whole bunch of new documents if you want to, and just switch between them. So it kind of reminds me of Notepad++, the interface of it there. And then we have AnyImage. This is a graphics editor. Okay, so kind of like a paint program, I guess. I honestly don't know if we're going to get to every single program on here. I do just kind of want to go through and pick out the stuff that sounds the most interesting. But you can just see the amount of stuff that is on here, and it is really impressive that all this fits on a single floppy diskette. Although, not all of it does technically. Like for example, NetSurf here. I did look this up. NetSurf is another web browser. This is more of like a full-featured web browser, whereas WebView is strictly text-based. However, NetSurf does not come included on the floppy diskette. You have to download it. So when you were to launch this here, it's going to start to download it, and if we were actually on the internet, it would be successful at doing that. And it, stores it in a temporary directory in RAM, which, by the way, this entire operating system is stored in RAM. Once you, boot off of it, it just decompresses everything on the floppy diskette. Now, App Plus, I have no idea what this is. Looks like it comes up with a warning. KolibriOS is not mounted. Try to find it manually. It should look like the image on the right. Okay, so we'll choose KolibriOS folder, and it looks like it just defaults to the sys directory, which I think is, yeah, we got 3D demos, develop drivers. So this is it. So we'll hit select, and we'll see if this works. Now, I wonder if this is because we're using the floppy disk version, because there is a live CD as well that contains much more software, and we're going to touch on that in a moment because there are a few things I want to show you on that. Yeah, I feel like there's supposed to be more stuff in here, so we will come back to this once we try out the CD-ROM version. Something interesting about KolibriOS is this is not really meant to be installed on an internal hard drive. One thing you won't find in either the floppy disk version or the live CD version is an installer program. So these are just meant to be run from their respective pieces of media. Now there is a like a hard disk version you can download from the KolibriOS website that's kind of meant to go on like a flash drive or like an external storage medium. And I kind of think this is meant to be what I like to call a keychain OS, which is something that you would basically carry around with you. You could go to, you know, a public computer that maybe don't want to mess around with anything on the internal hard drive or use whatever operating system is installed on it. You can just plug in your external drive, boot from it, and, you know, you can use KolibriOS. But both that version and the live CD version obviously contain much more software than on the floppy disk here. But I have seen a few applications in these menus that have this little asterisk next to them. I think that is indicating that they're not actually stored on the disk. Because we run it here, you see it does nothing, although we don't get that same pop-up we did with the browser. But I'm thinking that's what this means. I mean, NetSurf does not have it here, but I think if we go maybe into network, do we have... I don't see NetSurf in here. That's interesting. So maybe not all the applications on the desktop are necessarily in this menu. So like I said, we will jump over to the live CD version in a moment here, but I do want to explore a few more things on here. For example, you've got a good amount of games. I mean, we go to Game Center here, look at all this stuff. We've got Tetris, we've got FreeCell, Pong, we've got Connect 4, Reversey, can you believe it? We got Minesweeper. So let's maybe start up Tetris here. Very, very basic, don't really have any options. You actually don't have the ability to see the next block. Let's try to hit escape here, right click. Yeah, it doesn't look like we have any options, which, I mean, not that I'm complaining. I think it's impressive we have all of this just in here on a single floppy disk. And I'm sure I'm probably going to say that more than a few times throughout this video. We got Pong here. So it looks like we are the right one. Oh, is this like meant to be 2-player? Oh, there it is, Q&A. It says it right above. It says it right above the friggin' thing. So yeah, this is meant to be 2-player Pong, or just one player controlling both sides to make it kind of lonely and boring. But yeah, so you got like some multiplayer games on here. And then you have Pong 3, which is just, yeah. Oh, this is actually. Is this a computer? Use arrow keys in space. Oh, gee, what do we got going on here? Yeah, I think that bottom one is controlled by the computer. I am not controlling that. Although there is, yeah, there's a bit of a delay here, it seems, with the input. It's just if you hold down, like if I hold down the arrow key and let go, it takes a while for that to like register. So like I'll hold down, let go, it still keeps going for a while. So it's probably best just to, you know, move it like one key at a time here. But, yeah, then what does space do? Let's see what that does. Oh, that like flings it, okay. And I guess the computer doesn't have that ability or doesn't know how to use it yet. Oh, geez. Yeah, I kind of screwed up there. So, yeah, you got Pong. I think there was there a breakout on here? Maybe not. We've got a few games that look kind of like Tetris. Like, what is Clicks here? Just Clicks. Oh, is this like a matching one? Yeah, this is, you know, kind of like, Bejeweled or dare I say Candy Crush, something like that, you know, where you're just kind of matching all these colors and trying to, you know, clear the board. So that's nice. Now, what is memory? Is this like, okay, we got a bunch of blocks here. New game. Is it a matching game? Yeah, I think it's a matching game. So we can do that. Oh, and these are all, that's funny. I think these are all icons from the OS. Yeah, that's a really cool use for that. Look at that. And it's interesting because, like, we have Flappy Bird here on the desktop. I'm assuming that's a game, but it doesn't show up in the Game Center here. But Clicks does, Snake does, Tetris does, 15, we've got Pong, although Pong has a different icon. Is this maybe Pong 3? Yeah, that's Pong 3. And you have Sea War and Minesweeper. So yeah, Flappy Bird is not in here unless it's under a different name. This game just will not die, man. I mean, it's just very funny to me. Let's see how. Oh wow, that was like barely touching. Are you kidding me? Okay, well that was completely my fault. So was that. Oh man. So yeah, I mean, it's a really simple like Flappy Bird clone here. I mean, honestly, like, I think you would be pretty entertained just by going through here. I mean, you've got a ton of games to choose from. Yes, they are pretty basic, but I mean, they have to be to fit on a single floppy diskette. But that's just, I mean, that's just really cool. Like with the amount, I mean, you just have a ton of stuff on here. I've been really impressed with this OS so far, if you can't tell. So yeah, you got a game center. You have your system panel, so this is going to be for like modifying, you know, your OS settings and all that. You do have a, you know, some stuff for the network. We already took a look at the LAN config program, which we still, unfortunately, can't get the system to go online. We've got a network speed thing down here, which looks to be like a speed test. It tries to download this file from speedtest.tele2.net, although it's just going to give us error messages up here, which we can just, looks like we can click those actually to get rid of them. You got volume settings. I don't know if volume can we control this with the arrow keys maybe. I don't know if sound is actually going to work. I've not heard any sound yet. System settings here. You can change the language, allow LBA access, PCI access, disable speaker off, so we want that off. I wonder why that's not just sound on or off. We've got CPU ID as well, so this is kind of like a CPU-Z type program it looks like, so you know it tells you your processor name and vendor and processor speed and all that stuff. And then you've got a clipboard viewer. That's pretty nice. Processes, this you can also get to by just pressing Control-Alt-Delete. It's kind of like a task manager. And we can also just, you know, modify like the desktop wallpaper, which you can also do by just right-clicking and clicking on background, and that brings up, I think, this same exact program here. Yeah, so we'll minimize this, and maybe we want to choose like, I don't know, that maybe. And you got gradient or noisy. So you got two options there. That's actually really nice. I like this noisy one. Maybe we want that to be like a kind of like a darker green, something like that maybe. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. But I think you can also change the, like you could, I think, use like an image as a wallpaper, right? Background, no, that's the same thing. Is there, maybe you can't. Well, we do have skin config, which allows you to modify the like title bar and, you know, window colors and buttons and stuff. So maybe we want to make this. I'm actually going to try to not screw this up. Let's maybe make the button like a nice kind of bluish color, maybe like that. And the button text, maybe we want that to be black. Yeah, there we go. Check that out. But yeah, unless I'm missing something, I don't think there's a way to set a wallpaper, like an actual image as the wallpaper. But let's go through some more. We got panels, which this is for taskbar and docky configuration. So this is going to be for everything down here, I assume. So we can actually just uncheck the taskbar. We can change the position of where the taskbar is, which is, it looks like you can only go on top or on the bottom. And then what is the dock? Oh, look at that. That's really cool. Yeah, that's a dock. That makes sense. So, you know, if you want to kind of make this like a Mac OS thing, we can move the taskbar to the top of the screen, have the dock down here. Wow, I am really impressed. Like, that's super cool. And we can have, you know, always show. We can make it full width, so, you know, if you don't want it like floating, but I do like it floating like that. So let's have it as always show, and let's see if we can we like drag stuff to the dock? Can we drag stuff off of it? I don't think so. Right-clicking also just opens up whatever program it is. If there's a way to change this and like add stuff and remove stuff from the dock, that would be really cool, but I don't think there's a way. I mean, in panels here, there's not any other options for the docky program. And yeah, you can't drag stuff. You actually can't even move these icons around. They're just like locked in place unless there's an option to, oh, unfix the icons. There we go. Okay, now we can move stuff around. So let's see if we can add stuff to the dock like that. No, we can't do that. Okay. Can we, does that allow us to drag stuff off? No. And it being on full width doesn't do anything for us either. We can't drag stuff in. We can't drag stuff off. So, I mean, I'm thinking there has to be like some configuration document somewhere that's telling the dock what programs to include. And if we could just edit that, we could probably put our own stuff in there. But there doesn't seem to be a way to do that just from this panel here, unfortunately. And speaking of programs, we've got an IRC client apparently. So again, if we were on the internet, that would certainly be cool. We have Pixie, which is an MP3 wave or XM file. So this is like a media player. We have Midamp, which, yeah, that kind of, that's really cool. That's kind of a nice pun there. So, you know, it's got like the Winamp style interface, but this is for, you know, MIDI files. We've got the KGB, they're on here. Oh, it's the Kolibri graphical benchmark. Yeah, it's going to run like some graphical tests. That's pretty cool. And then volume, again, I don't know if sound actually works on here. Oh, I just noticed that we can get rid of the taskbar and like hide it. That's neat. See, I'm still like just you know, discovering stuff with the interface as we go through here. Got your calendar over here in your like system tray. Ghost monitor. I saw this in the system panel. I don't actually know what this is, but it looks like it's just monitoring your like CPU and memory usage percentage. Okay, so this is kind of like a let's see, tool for testing and monitoring hardware. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's a look at some of the applications that KolibriOS has to offer on the floppy disk version. Now what I want to do is swap over to the live CD to take a look at some of the additional stuff that's available if you go this route. So I've got that disk in the drive, and we're just going to go to menu here, shut down, and we're going to reboot, and then I'm going to eject the floppy disk. And the first thing you'll notice is this is even faster booting up, because of course we're going off of a CD this time. Still, the floppy disk version is pretty fast, but yeah, so here we are back at the desktop. You know, we got your same set of programs and everything, but we have even more now, because if we go into Game Center, for example, the entire system is going to freeze, actually. That's really great. Okay, well, evidently, it did not like opening up the Game Center here on the 98 PC. I tried that multiple times, and yeah, it did not work, so it just kept freezing. So I actually switched over to the XP computer, and it opens up just fine. The system doesn't hang anymore. But yes, we've got some big games now. We've got Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, Quake, and Tyrian. I've never actually heard of this game before. But yeah, we got those games, and then we have a bunch of other games just in these other categories as well, like 2048, which I wonder how this will compare to the, oh yeah, they kind of got the same look going on. That's pretty cool. Man, it's, you know, it's been a while since I've played 2048. This is so funny. I used to play this game like all the time whenever I had any sort of downtime. But yeah, so you got like a 2048 clone on here. Now, let's see if sound works. I'm going to open up Doom. I mean, we all know the rule, like Doom runs on like everything nowadays, but it is always neat to see it running on, you know, obscure systems like this. I don't know, can we hit enter? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so options, let's go to sound volume. I mean, we should be hearing sound right now, but we're not. Well, I just opened up a whole bunch of media files from the hard drive here, the Windows XP installation, and it is just going through them in like a playlist here, but it's not actually outputting anything. So yeah, I think that unfortunately we do not have sound working. Now, there is this driver install program that is in the, you know, system panel, but this is just for like additional drivers, like for, you know, your VMware SVGA driver, VirtualBox video driver, this AMD audio driver. So this is all stuff that's just not automatically installed, but nothing actually pertains to us here. We already have video working just fine. We just need audio and network. There's actually nothing for network in here. All right, so unfortunately, I couldn't get sound to work on here, but I mean, the fact that we have Doom running on this, you know, sort of obscure operating system is really friggin' awesome. The window is also interesting because there's no, like, border or anything. I don't even think, can we move this around? Okay, well, we can do that and, like, make it sort of full screen by double-clicking, and it just, you know, brings it up here at the top left. But then we get a window border here, so we can minimize it and stuff. But yeah, so you can't, oh, wait, okay, there we go. So we can move the window around if you just, click and drag in the right place, which is where that title bar would be. So yeah, I mean, having no sound at all does take away from the experience a little bit, I would say, but it's still Doom, which, I mean, who doesn't love Doom? And then, of course, we have a few other games as well. Okay, well, Wolfenstein here is in a proper window, and it has, like, captured the mouse, so you see we can't even see the pointer unless I, like, can we hit escape here? No, I don't want to quit. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. So can we, like, Alt-Tab out of here? Yeah, we can do that. But as soon as I get into this window, it, like, captures the mouse and it vanishes. And I don't know if there's a way to change that. Okay, well, we can go to Control here and turn off Mouse Enabled and customize controls. Well, I still can't see the mouse at all, so that doesn't actually fix that problem, so we might as well just have it enabled. We can change the sensitivity if we want to, but let's go to New Game, Episode 1. Let's bring them on, and let's get psyched here, guys. So, Oh my gosh, yeah, playing this with a mouse is kind of weird for using it to like move around like this. Can we use the arrow keys? Yeah, we can use the arrow keys, and then we can use control to shoot. That's much more like it. All right, so let's kill these guys. But yeah, it runs totally fine, although you're going to have a bit of a problem moving the window around, I would imagine. But, you know, again, it's just freaking awesome to see this running on here. Alright, so some more things that we have in the CD-ROM version that we don't have in the floppy disk version. First up, we got a bunch of emulators in here. Now, this menu did show up in the floppy disk version, but all these things had this star next to it, just like we have in here. And if you try to run them, nothing would happen. But you see, we got DOSBox up here. When we run it in the CD-ROM version, it actually starts up. And yeah, it's frickin' DOSBox. So if you want to run even more DOS games, you can totally do that right from here, which is super frickin' awesome. You know, I wonder if I could, like, try to install Windows 95 or something inside a DOSBox on KolibriOS. There's a video idea for a future episode. Let me know if you guys want to see some nonsense like that. We also have, remember before how I was saying we couldn't modify the wallpaper? Well, we can in the CD-ROM version here, because in the system panel we have way more options, including that driver install program that we touched on before. We also have appearance here, which allows us to change the skin. You got all these like predefined options here, which is super nice. And then you've got a wallpapers tab up here, and you've got, you know, a few built-in wallpapers, and you can also, I assume anyways, oh, that's really cool. It changes the like buttons up here as well. I think we can go to select folder, and you know, this would probably, like if I go into fonts here and select, yeah, it's going to change where this is pulling from over here. So you could just have like a folder full of wallpapers, and then you can change the picture mode over here. So all your standard wallpaper settings. You got some screensaver options in here as well. And gee, this is a very bright wallpaper. I kind of want to go to KolibriOS Ton. Oh, don't even tell me they have like an OS Ton for KolibriOS. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. What was the default one? I guess default? Yeah, there's the... That makes sense, doesn't it? And then let's see, we got home here. Oh, okay, that is home. That's the same one. Gee, what are the odds of that? We got grass, rug, small dots. I'm trying to find something that kind of just fits the theme I'm looking for here. Brick House Islands. That's kind of a cool one. Yeah, look at that. One other thing I want to show you, we've got these 2D and 3D demos in here. Now, we saw some of these on the floppy disk version as well, but, you know, obviously they're in the CD-ROM version, which makes sense. And, yeah, I mean, you know, they're just little programs here. We can open them up, and they do various things that, you know, are cool to look at. Some of them are, like, interactive. Like, I think, can we, yeah, so we can actually click on these buttons and, like, do a whole bunch of stuff here. There is this this Gears one, which is at the very least similar to that OpenGL Gears program that I tried to run in my most recent ReactOS video and failed miserably at. But yeah, and then you got some 2D ones. We've got, let's see here, Tube. There you go. And I imagine if we like close out of these, it'll, yeah, the FPS will drastically increase there. So yeah, these are just nice programs to have open up. Some of them are like full screen too, so they kind of act like screensavers. I think Firework here, no, that one's not full screen. One of these that I opened up was, I think, a Spiral. Yeah, Spiral's full screen. So, you know, I've said it before, but these non-Linux operating systems are just really, really fascinating to me. And yeah, it's just neat to see, you know, something that's not Linux for once. And yeah, I mean, it sucks that we weren't able to get, you know, sound and network stuff working in this video, but I still think this operating system is extremely impressive for what it is, especially that, again, you can fit it, at least a version of it, on a single 3.5-inch diskette. So that's going to wrap it up for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, get subscribed, maybe consider becoming a patron or a channel member to get early access to these videos before anybody else. But either way, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.